Luckily, I predicted Leafs in 6 from the start, so I'm still holding on to some hope right now. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Victoria and I talk about all things NHL related from across the pond in Scotland. And tonight? It's this morning, oh my god. It was a long night. And today we're talking about Game 5. Game 5, Round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the Toronto Maple Leafs lose 4-2 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Leafs had the chance last night to close the first round out at home against Tampa Bay with their 3-1 series lead, but that didn't happen. And honestly, I feel like most people in their initial predictions said that it was going to be Leafs in like 6 or 7. I didn't really see anybody at the start saying Leafs in 5. I think that's more of a hopeful thing that came out of the last couple games because they had a 3-1 series lead. But anyway, the series is now 3-2 Toronto, which, you know what, it's okay, but we'll get to that. So Morgan Rielly actually opens the scoring. The Leafs scored first around the 5-minute mark. However, before I could even post my tweet to show my enthusiasm, Cirelli had tied it up like a minute later and it's 1-1. The second period saw some really good hockey at both ends. I thought there was really good plays from both teams last night. However, Vasilevskiy was on a game last night that I don't think we've seen him on so far this series. Meanwhile, some of the Leafs players were not quite at the level they needed to be to get past the first round last night. Justin Hall's record of being on the ice when there's goals scored against the Leafs is really, really bad, and it's quite questionable. So the combination of Vasilevskiy being like a brick wall and some of the Leafs players, not all of them, but a few not being quite top of their game, I think it just gave Tampa the slight edge last night. Tampa score another one in the second, and so it's a 1-goal game. But honestly, if you checked the atmosphere among Leafs fans, you wouldn't think that's the case. I think people have seen this too many times before, and I think unless the Leafs were winning like 5-0 at the second last night, I don't think Leafs fans were going to feel confident, which is fair enough. So then we go into the third and Nick Paul extends Tampa's lead, making it 3-1. However, there is hope because Austin Matthews claws one back, and I'm sitting there like, is there hope? Is this another comeback given that that's how they've won games 3 and 4? Unfortunately not, and Tampa close out the game with an empty netter, making it 4-2. And the Leafs are now going to Game 6, which honestly, given that I would personally say Tampa were the better team in the majority of this series. Game 1, obviously they were the better team, they blew the Leafs out. Second game, Leafs were definitely better, they blew Tampa out. Games 3 and 4 were tight, I know, and the Leafs definitely won it via a comeback rather than consistent play throughout the game. And I would say actually Tampa were generally the better team throughout both of those games. The Leafs were just able to pull it back out of somewhere, which at the end of the day is the thing that matters. However, does that run out eventually? I feel like maybe last night that was it just running out, and I don't mean that, you know, they've thrown the series away. However, I did see a lot of comments like that, but yeah. So I'm excited for Game 6. It's a real shame that they couldn't have closed it out at home because that would have been just amazing. But at the end of the day, if they get past the first round, there's going to be more home game excitement anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I know that Game 6s and 7s, historically with the Leafs, don't go down very well, but this year might be different. This year's been very different for the Leafs in a lot of other ways, especially, you know, even just the way this series has gone so far. The Leafs are not known for making comebacks. Tampa are not known for blowing leads at the end of the game. So already that is a stark difference this year compared to previous years. So for all we know, Game 6, and just hopefully not Game 7, might actually work in the Leafs' favour because things do still seem different this year. And honestly, I understand people's pessimism, and I eventually stopped scrolling Twitter last night because it was like very negative, which I understand, and like everyone is allowed to feel however they want to feel, but I personally am quite an optimistic person, and until the Leafs like lose it in game 7, I'm going to maintain that optimism just because I enjoy cheering this team on, and I'm not going to make myself miserable out of choice. But people are allowed to feel however they want to feel, and it doesn't matter how long you've been watching this team for, you are allowed your own opinions. And to the odd person that replies to me saying that I don't understand because I've not been watching for long enough, I apologise for only being 23 years old and living in a country where hockey is still very much a developing sport. Like, I apologise for that. I don't know why that offends you so much, but it's a very odd comment I get like that. It is not the majority. But it really doesn't matter how long you've been watching this team for. It doesn't matter where you're from or who you are. You're allowed to feel however you want to feel. And if you want to feel really upset and angry and hurt, that's okay. But it's also okay to be really optimistic as well. And that's the route that I'm going to take until they actually lose the series, if that happens. So those are my post-game 5 thoughts. Comment down below, what did you think of the game, and are you excited or just stressed out for game 6? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back with more hockey chats from across the pond soon. Bye guys.